Hi, welcome to real-time manual testing interview questions part 6. Explain about defect management. Defect management. What is the meaning of defect management? It is a process of defect identification, reporting, tracking, and closing the defects for a project is called defect management. What are the major activities in defect management? Defect identification, defect reporting, defect tracking, defect retesting, then defect closing. These are the major activities in defect management. What is defect reporting? Explain defect submission process in your company. What is the meaning of defect reporting? Notifying about the defects to developers is called defect reporting. As a test engineer, whenever we identify defect, we have to communicate to the developers what type of defects are identified. There's a notifying about the defects to developers is called defect reporting. What are the guidelines to log the defects? This is the defect submission process. The moment when I identified, you have to say like this. So, because asking you how the defect submission process, the moment when I identify the defect in a current project, so we follow bug reporting guidelines to log the defects, such as check defect is reproducible or not by executing same test case on same version of build. Reproduce the defect in a peer or colleague computer. Check the defect in database for duplication. Already this kind of defect already reported or not. We have to check in the defect database. Then draft the bug and take necessary screenshot. Send an email to test lead for review and approval. Once the bug is approved by test lead, then test engineer log in into defect tracking tool and submit the bug to development lead. At the time, at the time of reporting, the defect status is new. First time when you are reporting defect status, you are going to give new it is. This is the process which are going to follow in my company for defect reporting. Explain the bug which is high severity and high priority. Explain the bug which is high severity and high priority. High priority and high severity. An error which occurs on the basic functionality of the application and will not allow the user to use the system. This kind of defects we have to give the high priority and high severity. Example, user login functionality fails. Web page not found when user clicks on a link which is used frequently in pages. Next one, explain the bug which is high severity and low priority. Low priority and high severity. Some link that would not be used frequently by end user causes a system crash or application stops responding. So application stops responding, can't go for execution. That is a severity. This is high severity. But very rarely user is going to use. That is a low priority. Scenario where entering more than 150 characters in the password field causes a system crash or corrupts the database. Explain the bug which is low severity and high priority. Low severity and high priority. That means impact of the defect will be less for execution, but user point of important. The spelling mistakes that happens on the cover page or heading or title of an application. The user interface related defects. Company's name spelling misspelled. Some text, example, user name has to give, but user name spelling mistake is there, control. on the main page that would be viewed several times per day is misspelled. What is showstopper defect? A defect which is not permitting to continue further testing is called showstopper defect. Example, a site which is used for photo editing task is being tested. In the home page, it asks for browse a photo from internet or the local computer. When we select a photo and press the upload button, then it should take to the next page for editing purpose, but it shows an error message with going to next page, which terminate or stopping the testing. Understand? You try to upload it, you want to edit that one. Once you try to upload that one, it is not permitting to go for the editing page. We can't go for testing, no. This is what we call showstopper defect or critical defect or fatal defect also we are going to say. Critical or fatal also we are going to call. Explain bug life cycle. Majority of the cases, students are not going to the right answer for this bug life cycle or defect life cycle. They says new, duplicate, reject, hold. First of all, what it says it is. First of all, what it's saying that. So it says that bug life cycle. Bug life cycle describes various status of the defect from its identification to closed. Bug life cycle describes the various status of the defect from its identification to closed. That is a bug life cycle. Okay. Now, see that step one. Whenever tester find a bug in software, so this is to understand you are given. But whenever they ask you bug life cycle, you have to give the answer like this. It describes various status of the defect from its identification to closed. Now see bug life cycle explanation diagrammatically. Whenever tester find a bug in software, then he locks the bug in the bug tracking tool with the status as new. Enter a new defect. Bug ID will generated and a bug is assigned to developers. Your tool you are using means tool is going to this activity. Tool is going to assign to developers. Then developers then analyze the defect. If it is valid, then they fix or resolve the bug or defect. So during the triage meeting, defects by development team. Once you assign developer, developers will do the triage meeting. If a defect is which is already existing in the database, already similar defect you send, then they are going to say duplicate. Defect developers are not accepted, then they are going to give the status as rejected. The developers need some more information about the defect hold. Deferred developers are accepted defect, but this kind of defect will be resolved in the next release of the application. Deferred developers are accepted defect, but next release they are going to consider deferred. So developers are accepted open and task is assigned to particular developer assigned. So when defect is resolved, then go for fixed. See duplicate, rejected, hold, deferred, open, assigned, and fixed. These all the status developers are going to provide for the defects. So you should know about the what is the meaning of this status. Okay, these things in the manual testing tutorial I provided about the bug life cycle. Each status meaning I given there. You have to refer that one. Once the bugs are resolved, assign to tester. So who is going to verify bug resolve work, which is called retesting. So at the time, if testing is satisfied about the defect resolve work, he gives the status as closed. If not satisfied, again is going to assign to the developers by giving the status as reopen. That's what for defect identification to closed. What are the status are there for the defect is described by the bug life cycle. It describes various status of the defect from its identification to closed. As a test engineer, we give three types of status: new, closed, reopen. Remaining status developers are going to provide. They ask what is default status for a defect. Default status is going to be new. That's what you are going to see. If you use any defect reporting tool, first time when you are going to create the defect information, defect profile, by default status is going to show new to you. What is what? Who is your reporting manager, right? Who is your reporting manager? Generally, my reporting manager is test lead. How do you know the developers are accepted your defects or not? How do you know it is, miss? Based on the status of the defect, whether they given status as open or rejected. Based on we are going to know it is. If the given status is open, they accepted, they are ready to solve it is. What is defect is? It is nothing but a time gap between defect identification date to defect closed date, not fixed date. Defect is, that is time, is the difference in time between the date a defect is detected and the current date if the defect is still open or the date was fixed. So this is called defect age we are going to call. The time gap between defect identification date to closed date is called defect age we are going to call. What is defect leakage? Defects missed from one level of testing to next level of testing is called defect leakage. Defects missed from one level of testing to next level of testing is called defect leakage. What is defect masking? Masked defect. That means one defect is going to hide the another defect. That we are going to call defect masking. We are going to call one defect hide the another defect. Masked defect hides the other defect, which is not detected at a given point of time. It means there is an existing defect that is not caused for reproducing another defect. Masked defect hides other defects in the system. Example I given here. There is a link to add employee in the system. On clicking this link, you can also add a task for the employee. Let us assume that both the functionalities have bugs. However, the first bug is add an employee goes unnoticed because of the bug is the in the add task. Add task is not working. Means how we can go for the employee here? There is a one defect is hiding another defect here. What is a latent defect? Latent defect means one which has been in the system for a long time, but is discovered now. So from long back it is there, but now only we identify defects which are identified later stages. A later stage identified defects we are going to call latent defects are going to call. What is defect density? Number of defects identified in a module or software is called defect density we are going to call. Thank you. Subscribe my channel. If require training, you can WhatsApp me in this number. Thank you.